What's the crack, everyone? It's Nathan here, aka the Rambling Kern, and head instructor of Kern School of Combat. So this week I wanted to discuss a topic that gets posed to me a lot, and a lot of people ask about this on various different groups and forums when it comes to Irish stick fighting and Irish martial arts in general. And that is, are there tournaments in Irish stick fighting? I want to discuss tournaments and competitions when it comes to stick fighting and my own kind of feelings and stance around them, and give you guys a bit of feedback and around them and kind of my thoughts on them, and kind of discuss what they're good for and what they're useful for. So to start, at the moment there are no tournaments in Irish stick fighting that I am aware of. I know in the past there were a few attempts, and at the moment I don't believe there are any. Now, personally, my general stance on stick fighting tournaments is that they don't really tend to work. I'm going to go through why, and I'm going to discuss the route that I took instead of going for tournaments, and the thing that I did instead. So the main reason why I think they don't work is because most sports evolve to then suit a rule set. And the issue with most combat sports, for example, is that often they become hyper specialized and hyper focused on those rule sets. So a good example would be judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So for those who don't know, both of those arts kind of originate from old traditional judo, kind of Kano jiu-jitsu is what it would have originally been called, and both kind of diverged in their own unique ways and became very, very specialized arts. And due to the rule sets that people train under, certain things have become hyper specialized with both. So for example, judo has some amazing throws. However, due to the rule set, they don't have any leg grabs. So they have a slight disadvantage if they were to go against, say, a wrestler in a fight. And for example, Brazilian jiu-jitsu has become hyper specialized on groundwork due to the rule set that they have. They don't really score any points unless you throw someone to the ground and pin them for 3 seconds, which is a lot of work. So as a result, a lot of jiu-jitsu guys will just simply sit on the ground and play a guard game, which a lot of people give them a lot of crap for, which I can understand, but they're playing to a rule set. And that is what happens in any competition. And that is one of the big issues I have around stick fighting competitions, because one of two things tends to happen. And generally they both fall into people kind of gaming the system. And those things are basically that either the competitions turn into a game of whack-a-mole and trying to count how many shots get landed. And usually what that means is you might have a relatively heavy stick, but you'll put on a lot of padding to make sure everyone's safe. Again, totally understandable. And then basically just keep whacking each other until one person hits the most amount of shots, or we rack up enough scores to basically one person will beat the other person. You know, that's a common theme in fencing and stick fighting competitions that I've seen will be, say, the torso and head might be 2 points and the limbs might be 1. And it might be, you know, first to X amount of points. You just hit as quick as you can, and then whoever racks up the quickest wins. Which, yes, sure, that's fine. But the issue is it becomes very specialized around that. And the other option then is basically you kind of reduce down some of the protective gear, and it is the first to hit, which basically turns into a kind of elaborate game of tag. And often that means very light sticks so that you can whip your stick in as quick as you can before the other guy has an opportunity to defend. Or allows you to do kind of strange movements that don't really reflect the realities of a stick fight. And I want to talk about that in a minute. But the issue that this creates is that you don't end up recreating essentially what a stick fight is. And as a result, I and my own group went down a very different route. So you've probably seen, for any of those who are regular viewers on my channel, that I have Brothers Dublin at the end of my videos. That is because my group is part of the Dog Brothers organisation, as well as the Open Lab 42 organisation under Benjamin Rittner. Now, the idea around this is that we wanted to test what we do against other stick styles in as realistic a way as possible. Now, obviously there are limitations to any rule set you go under. But what the Dog Brothers did way back in the kind of early to mid 80s was that they decided, let's meet up with minimal protective gear and the heaviest, sturdiest sticks we can get away with, and test various different styles of stick fighting against each other and see what works and what doesn't. And to me that was really appealing, because I come from a combat sport background, mainly MMA and various different grappling arts and some striking arts. So to me that made sense. I thought to myself, all right, well, I want to see, does Irish stick fighting work? And more importantly, does it work against other styles? Because if you pit style v style, often it creates a weird outcome, because you're not really seeing, do the things work? And often, especially if you have to say two sparring partners, they know each other's style and they will just try to counteract each other. So what the Dog Brothers did was they created this venue for people like myself to go and test and see if this stuff works. So I've gone to a number of what are called gatherings, and I have tested Irish stick fighting at those, and got on to various levels of success. And I'll pull up some pictures that were kindly taken from the most recent event this year. And as is the way in any martial arts, sometimes with the hammer, sometimes with the nail. So sometimes I have done well, sometimes I have not. And it's all about refining and testing, especially against people who have very different backgrounds and very different styles. What we do is very different to a lot of other styles, but it gives us a really accurate way to see if that works. Now, obviously, the question I get asked is, oh, well, what are the rules, or how do you win? Generally, the rules are protect yourself, and for want of a better term, don't be a dick. Don't try to hurt anyone else. One of the rules being go home friends at the end of the day. So the thing about stick fights is there are small movements that you can do that are incredibly dangerous. And if you want to open up the ability to do as realistic a fight as possible, it's very difficult for a referee to step in at certain moments. So as a result, you then either have to ban a load of techniques and scenarios and situations that you might be in an actual stick fight, or just remove them completely, or try and enforce some sort of really strict rule set, and none of these really work. And whenever competition gets involved, kind of safety tends to go out the window. That's true of any discipline, and you can see that from all of the dodgy things that are done at any sport at any level. People will do whatever they can to win. So generally we don't have winners or losers in this. Obviously, if you get hurt or you get tapped or whatever, then the fight is over, and you go and line up, and if you're able to, go have another fight with someone else. Now, the reason why I like this is because it allows me to test what I do in as realistic a way as possible. Now, obviously there are shortcomings. I'm still wearing some protective gear. I'm wearing gloves. I'm wearing a fencing mask. But one of the things is, so this is one of the sparring sticks I use, and as you can see with this, relatively thick. This one's a little bit shorter, but generally the ones I use weigh exactly the same as the shillelagh that I have, which is roughly about 340-ish grams. I don't know what that is in freedom units, so forgive me. But generally, these sticks, while it is rattan, and I know a lot of people ask, why do I use rattan? This stuff is safe. It doesn't break, it tends to fray apart, and if it does break, it kind of cleanly breaks, and you're not left with a big jagged spike like you would for the likes of, say, oak or ash or various different other woods. So a hell of a lot safer, and it does tend to bend around things, so if you hit someone really hard, say on an arm or whatever, it's more likely to bend around it and then potentially breaking it. So as a result, that is what we do. That is how we test what we do. Myself and one of my students this year went to the gathering, and absolutely great fun. I am one of few Irish people, I think one of only 3 who've gone to these things, and they are amazing events, and the Dog Brothers done amazing stuff to figure out what works. And like I said, it's not a perfect, accurate, real representation of a fight, but it is as close as you're going to get whilst still being able to go home safely at the end of the day. And I think that is a thing that I've harped on about in this channel a lot. A lot of people will say, oh, well, when it comes to weapon martial arts, you get this conversation that comes up over and over that really just pisses me off to no end. Where people go, oh, well, that's not a real fight. Or, oh, well, I just do this in a real fight. Or, oh, you're wearing protective gear, so it's not real. Or, oh, you're using rattan, so it's not real when you use blackthorn. because I still have things to do outside of these fights. And, if people think that, their style's so amazing, it'll only work under that, those strict rule sets, cool. Get in touch, maybe we'll sort something out, but I don't believe you. Generally, competition is good, and I think inter-club or, maybe like small little competitions can be good. We often do stuff like first hit, little games in my club, but we don't do competitions because it doesn't really reflect on the reality of a stick fight. And kind of coming back to what I was saying earlier is that when you look at a stick fight, a stick is not a one hit, one kill weapon. And I think that is where a lot of people have this really weird misconception around sticks. I hear some people going, oh, well, if I had a stick, or, I would have a 2 kilo big steel crowbar, and I just one hit and the thing instantly dead. If you see my testing videos, that light shillelagh I use has been able to crack a skull analog with one pretty light hit. So they can definitely do damage. The issue is it's very difficult, as anyone knows, to land a perfect strike on anyone, especially if someone's trying to stop you doing that or resisting. So one of the things with sticks, if I was to take this stick for example, if I was to hit someone as hard as I can in the top of the head, it could stop them, but it might not. But potentially then a light hit in the face in kind of this region might completely take them out of the fight. The same can go for the arm. So I might hit someone as hard as I can in the arm and not do anything, or I might do a light hit to the hand and they might be out. And the other issue, and this is one that comes up a lot and a lot of stick fighters really don't address, and obviously I'm somewhat biased because I have a strong background in grappling, but these, you can grab hold of these. It's not a sword. You can still grab hold of it. And even swords, people did grab hold of. You can grab these things. So when you get into specific ranges, the fight's not over. And that's one of the reasons why I really liked what the Dog Brothers did, because when it gets into clinch range and grappling range, the fight isn't over. And when you go to the ground, there's a whole world opens up of things and techniques that you need to refine and work on. Because if you're trying to train realistically as possible, you need to know those things. And really, in my view, that is the best way that you can train. It's the most realistic way that you can train, and obviously it has its flaws like anything, but in my opinion, it's probably the best. Now, I'd love to know what you guys think on that. Obviously, I know a lot of people have a huge interest in having competitions for stuff. Generally, I don't think when it comes to stick fighting that you're really going to get a good rule set for competition. And I just don't really see it being a thing. And another thing, I kind of discussed this very quickly, but the likes of hitting someone with the butt of a stick. I could hit someone as hard as I can with the top of this, like somewhere along here, doing a swing, and not do near as much damage as if I just did a fairly light shot with the butt of this. Just like thinking of hitting someone with a plank of wood versus a hammer. Hammer's going to do a lot more damage because it's concentrated on a small point. So it is something you need to consider. So I would love to hear you guys' opinion on that. And what do you think about stick fighting competitions? What do you think about what the Dog Brothers do? I'll leave some links down below to the Dog Brothers YouTube channels and websites. You can go have a look at what they do. Highly recommend the material they put out. Really, really good stuff. Obviously it's not Irish stick, but what we do fits into it. And they very much have an approach of, take from everything and see how it works. And I really, really enjoy training with those guys. Absolutely wonderful people. Really can't recommend them enough. And, if you have any questions about that, if you have any thoughts or comments, please do let me know, because I think sparring is something that needs to be done more of in a stick fighting sense, especially in Irish stick fighting. I would love to see more of it. I know it's not for everyone, but like I said before, there's various levels to stick fighting and to sparring, and it is something that I would like to see pushed a bit more. Obviously, if you guys want to see more videos on that sort of thing too, please do let me know. I have lots of stuff in the works at the moment. I know I've been a bit delayed getting things out to you this summer, but it's been a bit of a crazy one for me. But the channel has grown massively this year, and I just really can't thank you guys enough. Hope you enjoyed this video. Leave me a comment down below, let me know what you think. And obviously, if you're interested in classes in Irish stick fighting and interested in training in the way that we do, you will find links down below to all my social medias and my classes. So please do let me know, and thank you very much for watching. And slán.